Peace. Welcome back to the channel. Man, I'm feeling good today. I just ate a sandwich and the sandwich.
What is he talking?
Sorry, no, alright. No, all jokes aside. Alright, let's get it. 1, 2.
Wait, she wants to sit down.
1, 2, 3. Peace. Welcome back to the channel, man. We appreciate everybody that's been liking, commenting, subscribing. We've reached 113 subscribers, so we already on the road to, 150, 200 subscribers. Our channel is growing. Things are, you could just see the progression of our channel, and it's amazing just to watch our vision come to light. Like we've been wanting to start this channel for so long, and now that we have it, it's just been a blessing. So we appreciate everyone that's been, liking, commenting, subscribing. But today we got a special video for y'all. Today we're going to talk about how to create emotional safety in a conversation with someone.
Just in your relationship.
You want it in your relationship?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not just in conversation. It's just creating emotional safety, emotional comfortability in all aspects of your relationship. A lot of times when we discuss masculine energy, we talk about the word providing a lot, and I feel like that is those concepts have been very misconstrued, and we think about providing usually only with money, with like monetary purposes.
Right.
But part of the masculine's job is to provide emotional safety. And I feel like that's missing a lot in dynamics between men and women.
Yes.
Because men have been socialized to suppress and repress their own emotions. We are just constantly projecting. So if a man has not been allowed in his life to express himself authentically and vulnerably,
Right,
without shame, without
giving him a solution right here and now.
That's another one too. Then he's not going to be able to provide that for you in a romantic relationship, in a friendship, in any type of scenario. And that's something I'm really happy with. I'm really grateful for that dynamic that we have now, that we like everything we talk about are things that had to be built upon. You know what I'm saying? We
Definitely.
Always had a very, very solid foundation.
Definitely.
But these are things that have to constantly be talked about. You have to really understand, how is your partner feeling? You have to ask the deeper questions. You have to ask yourself the deeper questions. So what is emotional safety? For me, emotional safety feels like freedom. I don't feel like I need to censor myself. I don't feel like I need to not show my emotions. I just feel comfortable and open. I feel like I'm free flowing. And that occurs when multiple things happen, right? So, number one, a big thing that I have realized in my experiences is that a lot of men are uncomfortable with other people showing emotions, especially certain emotions,
Right.
like crying, like sadness, like anger,
irritation.
It
could be a bunch of different things, and I feel like just as men, we are just taught to just get over it, and move on, or suck it up, or just like
push it
completely
away.
move past that emotion, and a lot of times that's why as men we tend to let things build up, and then it turns into explosion. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just being able to move gracefully through that emotion, a lot of times it might turn into something extreme, like a fight, or just something that didn't have to take place because we didn't know how to process our emotions from adolescence. No one was teaching us how to process emotions. But another thing that I feel like emotional safety is non-judgment. You know what I'm saying? When someone is telling you something that is emotional, and you can feel their vulnerability, you can feel their shakiness just from the way that they're saying it, this is not the time for you to give them suggestions. It's not the time for you to even
shame
them or be like, why did you do that? Or, you know what I'm
and
saying?
not why. You can ask why, but there's an energy difference when someone is like, okay, so why did you choose that? And someone's like, well, why did you do that?
Yeah, like a negative type of like
Right.
demeanor. Like, why? Like, why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, where it's like in an emotional safety type of setting, there needs to be space for mistakes, and because we all make it, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just like thinking about if you was that person, would you want someone to, you know, talk down about you? Would you want someone to uplift you? Would you want someone to cater you? Would you want someone to, you know,
accept
just
you?
Accept
I really
you.
feel like emotional safety is acceptance. You know, it's not trying to push someone to do a certain thing, because then that's where our ego comes in, and it's like, oh, well, I think I know better, so let me offer this.
Right.
And that was never solicited.
Right.
You know, so it really just feels like acceptance. I can just be whoever I am in this moment. And to go back to something he said is that, you know, a lot of men don't know how to process their emotions. And the thing is, we've talked about this before on other videos, is that every single emotion is operating at a certain frequency, right? And every frequency is like, picture like a new piece of letter, a new letter in the mail, right? Every time you get this piece of mail, there's information, right? There's a card attached, there's instructions. And if we're not honoring that information that is being gifted to us, then how can we then implement that information and integrate it into our life, right? So when you push away an emotion, you're pushing away an upgrade. Yeah, you're pushing away an ascension. You're pushing away information that is trying so hard to be gifted to you so that you can change your life for the better. But if you constantly push away an emotion because you've been socialized to look at that emotion as a negative, then how are you ever going to grow, learn, grow? How are you going to be able to give that to other people?
Right.
How are you going to have that level of understanding and resonance with other people? All of that is kind of just deaded because of your own uncomfortability. And, you know, these things take time, because that's another thing too, is, you know, we have to understand the differences between men and women. Now, there are differences too in how certain women are allowed to process their emotions. You know what I'm saying? But as a general statement, men are less allowed to be emotional. And so then you hear these sentiments that men then project onto women. Oh, women are emotional. Women are this. Sir, you're emotional too. We all are emotional. You are just lacking emotional intelligence. And so you're viewing these things as negative.
Right.
And then it really stunts the growth of the relationship, because one person is usually trying to convey how they feel.
Right.
And the other person is saying, I don't want to hear that, it's uncomfortable, that's not true.
Right.
XYZ.
Yeah, right. Like, as a man, I feel like learn to understand emotions and how they work will allow you to connect with someone no different than a language, because emotional intelligence is like a language. It just allows you to communicate more, you know, efficient, or just at a more, you know, it broadens your communication, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Because now you can understand things when, you know, someone might give you a certain type of energy, like someone might be irritated and you might be taking it personal, feeling like they're giving you this energy because of whatever reason, you know what I'm saying? But now you can be there for that person and say, okay, I can understand that this person is going through something. That's
Right.
where the emotional intelligence comes in. So instead of me saying, why are you giving me this energy? What can I do for you? How can I help you?
How can I support you?
How can I support you?
Why is this bothering you? Because there's always deeper reasons. It's not just like, oh, well, they did something that annoyed me. No. What annoyed you about it? You know what I'm saying? Nothing just comes from the outside in. It's inside out.
Right.
And I feel like another major part of creating emotional safety is accountability and apologies. You cannot have any emotional safety and true vulnerability with someone that you don't feel is honest. And part of being honest is saying, I messed up.
Right.
And I'm sorry.
Right.
and not feeling like your mistakes lower your value. You are not your mistakes, right? But if someone is unwilling to meet you in the middle, if someone is unwilling to apologize, if someone is unwilling to say, you know what, I understand how that could have affected you in a negative way,
right.
and I apologize for that, that wasn't my intention, you know what I'm saying, whatever the next steps are. If that's not there, there's no way you're ever going to feel comfortable taking it up to the next levels.
Right. I feel like also just with emotional intelligence, I just feel like emotional intelligence is understanding not just like this. For example, if you're communicating with someone, you can say the same thing and it can be perceived two different ways, or more than two different ways, multiple ways, because of the emotion that you put behind that word. So emotional intelligence is understanding not just what you say, but the emotion that you put behind what you say.
Right, how you say it.
How you say it. And, for example, how someone might say something to you and how you perceive that. And now you can understand where they are at emotionally. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So when you open yourself up to your emotions, I'm not saying to drown yourself in your emotions, right. No, but to understand the emotions and know how to process them will allow you to understand things more on a deeper level, or right. You know what I'm saying, you'll be able to connect to things, you know, more easily.
I don't remember if I've said this before on here or maybe my personal channel, Holistic Intuition, but something that I feel like is very helpful and simplified. And when I was working with younger students, like first graders, and we were doing different exercises together, we came across this video when we were meditating, and I just loved the way they explained it. They were basically saying how, picture there's a pond, right? And in this pond, there's all these different fish swimming by. Okay? Instead of feeling like your emotions are inherently you, right. Look at your emotions as the fish swimming by. Maybe sadness swims by and then it leaves. And then maybe excitement comes and then it leaves. So you're not the fish, you're the pond. So you can't hold on to the emotion where it's now to your detriment. Right? But it needs to be a balance. And sometimes people will be manipulative of that. They'll say, well, you just need to get over this emotion. Well, things can only be dealt with when
you go through it.
You have the full spectrum of the experience. You know what I'm saying? And if someone else is involved in that experience, then they are also involved in whatever steps they need to take. Right? It's not just like, let's say someone hurts your feelings, right? And they did something that, you know, maybe was a wound to you, or maybe it just bothered you a little bit, whatever it is. And they just say, well, it's not that big of a deal, and I think you're holding on to it, and that's not helpful, right? Because there was no middle ground. There was no connection. There was no anything. It was just block, right? So if someone hurts your feelings and you are able to express that clearly, you say how it made you feel, right. Blah, 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 then now it's on them to meet you in the middle, right? It's not just like, oh, I just had this emotion, now I just need to release it.
Right.
You need to figure out your own balance of, I need to feel my emotion, I need to see where it is residing in my body, what does it feel like in my body, why did this come up, and then they need to meet you.
And how was it caused? You know what I'm saying?
Right. How did that person play a part in something that you don't enjoy? Right.
And now how can you communicate, how can you connect the dots to how whatever they did made you react a certain way? You know what I'm saying? And how that can be prevented. You know what I'm saying? Because nothing just happens. Everything has a cause and effect. So something triggered you in order for you to respond that way. But now, if you take the time to dissect what actually happened, now you can pinpoint the certain parts, or maybe the language that they use, or the tone that they use, and you can let them know, okay, this is what caused me. Even though you are responsible for your own response to what someone gives you, you are responsible for that because you are in control, you have the power. But, you know what I'm saying, at the same time, letting people know how you like to be communicated with will allow you to, you know, just maintain, you know, a balance and just homeostasis. So
right. And to go back to what he was saying too, I feel like it's really important that you don't always try to fix things, because that is the masculine's go-to, is logic and strategy and solutions. A lot of times when you talk to men about your emotions, their first instinct is, it's, you know, it's not a negative thing. It's just, it's missing the feminine. It's, you need to be balanced in your own male body, right? And a lot of times men will just try to give you a solution. They will try to force you to move through the emotion faster than what you are comfortable with.
right.
And I feel like, in my experience, it just takes attention and energy and patience if your man is receptive. Now, if you are with someone that is not willing to meet you, then that's an issue, and that needs to be looked at further. But in my case, that's not the issue. Ra is very receptive, so when I brought things up in the past, like, you know, I need to feel a little more comfortable to express the things that are more difficult for me to talk about or for me to feel, he was very open and receptive and asked questions. Okay, so like, what does that mean for you? How can I show up for you in a way that would feel better? You know what I'm saying?
Or also that too, but what I try to do is I try to understand Jessie's point of view from her perspective, instead of thinking about it from the way I want to think about it. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that goes to like learning about women. And you can learn about women, then you can understand their experiences, and you can
Right.
What do you call that?
Resonate?
Not resonate, but empathize. You can empathize with them
Yes.
now. You know what I'm saying? There's that. It's the same way with a dude. Dude go through this. Then you're like, oh, bro, I know what you're talking about.
Right.
This, and that. But we can't. That doesn't happen with women. When women, things that women do, there is no resonance. There is no empathy. There is just this. It is what it is, or you did this, or
Right.
you're being too emotional, or it's
And
not
then
that
women
deep.
feel very isolated a lot of the time. That's a very common experience that a lot of women feel in their romantic relationships with men, is they feel isolated. They feel lonely because they tried to express themselves and the way they were met was not fulfilling. It was not empathetic. It was not what they wanted it to be.
No.
And
I just want to say one thing.
Go ahead.
I know this video is about how to create emotional safety within your relationship, but with any relationship, people like to be with people that they feel like understand them.
right.
You know what I'm saying? And then when you get more connected to, as a man, when you get more connected to your emotions, now you can understand women. This will allow you to build a relationship with them. A lot of times relationships don't last between men and women because men don't it's not just on the man, it's not just on the woman, but as a man, if you're not understanding that emotional part of the relationship, then you're lacking a huge part, because the physical is only this part of it. You know what I'm saying? You guys are going to be going through so many emotions through the day that if you don't ever take the time to learn how to process them, release them, and make space for more, then this shit is going to pile up, and you guys are going to split, because it's just not going to work.
Or you're just gonna stay in a relationship that
Not
you
fulfilling.
decide that you eventually just make a lot of excuses for.
Right.
Well, it's just this person is like this. It's like eventually you have to decide for yourself, am I making an excuse or am I compromising? You know what I'm saying? And you can refer back to our boundaries versus compromise video for a lot of helpful things that we've talked about, things that have worked for us in our relationship.
Right.
But a lot of times women make a lot of excuses for their men. And these conversations are a lot deeper than just what we're even talking about, because it goes back to your relationship with your parents. You know what I'm saying? As a woman, we have to look at how was our relationship with our father figure. And a lot of times the father figure did not provide emotional safety because he was socialized the same way that your partner was, right? And so if you didn't feel emotionally safe with your father, then what kind of men are you attracting into your experience now? And what do you feel is normal? What do you feel is okay? But if you have a father that provided you that emotional vulnerability, that emotional room, that space, now you're going to demand that in your relationships. But how many women have gone through that and are now demanding that, right? And, same for men. And you have to look at your relationship with your mother. You know what I'm saying? Did she provide space for you to express your emotions? Because a lot of men have also been socialized by their mothers to not show their emotions. It's not just coming from the dad, right? Because then the relationship that your partner has had with their mother figure is going to be a reflection of your relationship. It's all these mirrors all the time. It's like constant mirroring of every relationship, of every
dynamic.
Yeah, so just every dynamic that has happened, especially in early childhood. And so you can go back and really explore your childhood, and that will help you connect the dots of what is happening in your current relationships. If you feel like these patterns keep occurring, okay, well, go back to the original. What happened in childhood?
And when you go back, be honest. And I advise you to maybe even do some childhood work with someone that you trust. Because when you are going through things and you feel like you're reliving your past, your perspective might be biased because you want it to look a certain way. You know what I'm saying? But
like if you want it to seem better than
you
what
want
it
it to
was.
seem better than what it was, or you want it to seem like it wasn't that bad, or things happen this way, or you leave out. You don't really go deeper into certain details because you want to keep certain things a little bit private. But the deeper you go, the more you will find. You know what I'm saying? So find someone that you can do childhood work with. I'm not saying all the time, but especially in the beginning, because this will open you up to honesty. And sometimes honesty is uncomfortable, but once you go through that transformative experience of connecting something that happened to your past and realizing how it's affecting you now you trust that process more. Now you can do that more on your own. You know what I'm saying? So find someone that you trust, someone that can give you an honest opinion on what they feel like what they feel like was going on as well, as you tell them what happened in your childhood.
Right, because a lot of the things that we're referring to when we're having more like emotional conversations is sometimes it's already hard enough to admit certain things to yourself, and then to say it out loud, and then to say it out loud to a whole nother being. And you don't want that process to feel even more like tension because of how the person responds to you. You know what I'm saying? Your intimate relationships should be freeing. There's enough constrictions and boxes and labels in the outside world. Your inner relationships are sacred, and they should feel just like that. They should feel comfortable. They should feel safe. Even through the things that are uncomfortable, that you're still working through. You don't need to have a whole thing figured out to then be like, okay, now I can take it to raw because I know exactly how I feel about this situation now. Sometimes you just want to talk. Sometimes you just want to be heard. Sometimes you just want that validation from someone that you trust. Like, yeah, I was feeling this way about it. Like, what did you think about it? And then sometimes it can guide us back to ourselves.
And it also can help you connect more too, because
with the other person or yourself?
Yeah, with the other person. You know what I'm saying? Because you might be feeling some way like that you might deem as shameful or not as confident.
Yes.
And now that you share this with this person, bro, we all feel the same way sometimes.
Yes.
And a lot of people just afraid to admit it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But when you are someone that you trust, that is a perfect time for that person to be there for you and be like, it's cool, I feel like that sometimes too. I know I can I can resonate with what you're going through and you're not alone type of thing. Right. So now you don't feel so isolated like it's a me problem, right, when it's a universal problem, right, that we're all going through, right? So it allows you to, you know, it allows you to free yourself. You know what I'm saying? And don't...
Because shame is like very caging. You know what I'm saying? When you feel, a lot of us feel shame from the things that we have never talked about, that we have never released. We're holding on to these things because we have decided, and in conjunction society has decided, that it is negative, it's bad, it's shameful, it's embarrassing, and we hold on to these things and we hold the trauma in our body, and that manifests into other things. And so we've had so many freeing conversations between the two of us of telling each other things that we have never told anybody.
No.
And feeling that it's almost like an emotional hug. You know, where it's like, oh my God, wow, I was feeling like this was just weighing on me. I could feel the embarrassment and the shame just sitting in my body. And now that I told it to you, I feel lighter. I feel like...
You mind if I give an example?
Yeah.
I feel like a perfect example of how it feels to me when someone is there, when someone creates emotional safety, is like, for example, it's like when you did something bad and you're afraid to tell your parents because you know they're going to probably discipline you, or you know they're going to yell at you, or you know they're going to be frustrated and angry, but you got that one parent that says, it's okay, it happened, how did it make you feel? And it give you this comfort. They don't give you this like force, like
right,
you're about to be punished. They don't give you this type of like, you know, just demeaning energy. They give you this energy like it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to feel certain types of way. It's okay to not be feeling your best all the time or not perform the best. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I can give one example. It's just a time with my godfather, and we was over at his house for the summer, and we was running all around the house. We ended up breaking his table, a expensive ass table, and I'm just like, I don't know, I just feel all this anxiety because I don't know what he's going to say. I don't know how he's going to react, and I just had to tell him because there was no way you could hide it. It was one of those things that you couldn't cover up. It was like, nigga, prepare for this shit. You know what I'm saying? So, and I just told him, and he was like, it's cool. It happened. Don't worry about it. It's just a table. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of parents don't feel like furniture is just furniture.
right,
They spend a lot of money on that furniture. They work 6 months, got saved multiple paychecks for that furniture. So they have a different emotional connection with that furniture. So
or
they
attachment. It's really an attachment, yeah.
Right. They have a different attachment to that furniture. So it's just that relief of like, damn, this was so, it was so comforting. You know what I'm saying? It just felt so lovely. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like creating emotional safety for someone is something that is very rare in our society.
It's invaluable. You can't put a price on that. You really can't. And something that has helped me to be more accepting, because sometimes we judge ourselves. So then when someone tells us something, we may project that judgment onto them,
right,
even if we don't say it out loud. We may be thinking it, right? And so something that has helped me is to picture, kind of going back to that inner child work, is if someone is telling me something that is more vulnerable, that's there's a little more weight to it,
right,
I try to picture them as their past self, their child self.
Right.
And not in a demeaning way, not in a belittling way, but in a gentle way.
Right.
So if he's telling me something more vulnerable, I try to picture 7-year-old Ra,
Right.
13-year-old Ra, 15-year-old Ra, 3-year-old Ra.
3-year-old. I think that's a better one because 15, 17, they give them more responsibility. But a 5-year-old.
Yeah, but you still should be being gentle though.
You should, but I'm just saying, like, that's.
But whatever age resonates with you, just picture a young child. How would your highest self want to respond to what they said?
Right.
Would they want to be this? Would it want to be judgment? Would it want to be an hour lecture? Or would it be, that's okay. That's totally okay. I can understand why you feel like that.
Right.
Is there anything you need from me in this moment?
Right.
Everything you're feeling is normal. This is a
Right.
part of this human experience. All the things. Just go back to that. And I feel like that practice has really helped me to create more acceptance in myself and in other people, because we all have that inner child still living within us. It doesn't just go away because now you're in an adult body. You know what I'm saying? So I really recommend that if you feel yourself struggling with judgment or control or those types of things when people try to be vulnerable with you. But yeah, I think that's everything really for the most part. You know, like I said, these are layered conversations. I say that every time, but everything always has layers.
It does.
But
we appreciate everybody that tuned into the video. We appreciate every single person that just watches 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. All of the energy that you guys come and pour into our channel, we really appreciate.
Yes.
And with all that being said, please like, comment, subscribe,
check out our turn on the
notifications.
Yeah. But we also, if you're into some
cats.
Yeah, if you're into cats, we just made a new TikTok for our beautiful 2 cats, Peace and Harmony.
Yeah.
Harmony's sleeping right here next to us.
Here, yeah.
But we just made like a few videos last night, but we was just having the best time. Shit was so fucking cute. Like, we have so many videos of them, and we just got the cutest cats. Like, there's nothing else I can say. They're so loving. Like, they're so loving. I used to hear so many negative things about cats, and I never grew up with cats. He did. So to have my
whisperer player.
Yes, you are. But these animals just have surprised me so much. You know, they're just such beautiful beings, and it's just been so amazing to see their progression, you know?
Yeah, like even their comfortability has grown a lot. You know what I'm saying?
lot.
I feel like a lot of people don't really pay attention to their animals.
They
But you
really
can
don't.
learn so much from animals because they're honest.
Yes.
Animals are honest. Cats.
Cats are
very honest. Dogs are a little bit different.
Right.
Cats are very honest. If they not fucking with you, they not fucking with you. They gonna let you know. They gonna.
Usually, if you like really have a thing against cats, my go-to is that you probably got control issues.
Player.
Because you probably trying to get them to do shit they don't want to do. You in their personal space. You know cats like they space. You trying to pick them up too much. You trying to fuck with them. You too loud. You're not giving them enough attention. You're not giving them enough love. Like, it's not that hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, animals are no different than us.
No.
We're all desiring of deep love.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little tangent. But anyway, if you want to see that, I'll link it down below our TikTok.
We appreciate everybody, and we'll see y'all in the next video.
Peace.